Welcome to you all to this launch event for e-lection, our official launch for the event that's taking place now after the Easter holidays. My name is Hugh Davis, and as you've heard just now, this is Sean Deschamps Evans. I hope I pronounced that reasonably well, Sean. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Good start then. Who's here from the Senedd Cymru team. So thank you very much to all of you for joining us. It's a very lovely sunny day outside, so we'll endeavour not to keep you too long so you can go and make the most of the weather yourselves. But we will give you just a brief overview of what to expect in this project that we'll be holding during the month of May. So aims and objectives of this session. We're going to give you a brief overview of the programme, followed by a bit more detail and a step-by-step guide for each session. And we'll also hint at the documents and activities that you can expect to find as the sessions go on. And we'll close with a brief Q&A question in case a Q&A session in case anyone has any questions. But if you do have any questions, as you'll see, the microphones and cameras have been disabled for this session. So please use the chat if you have any questions. We'll refer to those when we get to that Q&A section of the meeting. And the cameras and microphones will also be off during the live sessions themselves to ensure that they run smoothly without too much interruption. But they will, of course, still be interactive sessions. We'll be making use of the chat function in Teams, as well as the interactive software that we usually use. I know that many of you will have been in e-sgol sessions before and aware that we're fans of a Kahoot quiz in particular, and we'll be using Padlet and also Menti in order to facilitate the interactivity of the sessions. These sessions will be remote synchronous and remote asynchronous. Remote synchronous in the sense that we'll be holding live sessions, obviously, in order to present content, but also reinforcing and strengthening the learning that takes place during those sessions with some asynchronous learning. So we'll be providing you with some additional resources, some worksheets and what have you, in order to make the most of the project and the learning that takes place during the live sessions. So here is an overview of the programme. You may well have seen this as you were registering on our registration page. I won't delve into too much detail now, but I'll let Sean do that in a brief while as we go through the step-by-step. But the important thing to note here is the dates, obviously. So as you'll see, these sessions are taking place every Friday during May, the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th and the 23rd. It's a very short half term, isn't it? So every Friday morning, you'll have these e-lection sessions at hand should you require them. And then, of course, the starting times here on the right-hand side. The first two sessions will take place at 11 a.m, but the final two sessions will start at 9:15, 9:15, as they'll be bilingual sessions. The reason for this being that we're trying to emulate the plenary sessions that take place at the Senedd, and using live translators. So adding that element of authenticity, we hope, to those final two sessions, which will be the Q&A with the members of Senedd, as well as that first primary Senedd meeting. So what is our role at e-sgol and what will be your role? So this is a sort of general overview before we delve into a bit more detail, but we appreciate that this is the end of a very busy term. So just in case it's a slight cognitive overload for you tonight, we'll just give you a brief idea here. So we at e-sgol will ensure that you have access to resources that you'll require by lunchtime on the Tuesday before the session. So for example, the first session will take place on the 2nd of May. So we'll ensure that you have access to the required resources by Tuesday, the 29th of April, the lunchtime on that Tuesday. We'll be sending everything to the hub address that you've registered with. But if there is a separate address, maybe a .gov.uk address that you prefer that we use, please let us know. Send us an email and we can add that address to the mailing list as required. Also, we'll be creating, facilitating and recording the sessions. So we'll be creating and inviting you to the sessions themselves before the end of this week. So they should appear in your calendars before the coming Friday at the end of term. And we'll also record every session and place them on our YouTube channel in case anyone needs to catch up We obviously know as you get into the summer term, there are certain trips that take place, etc. So if you're not able to attend live, you're more than welcome to catch up the following Monday, for example. We're also available to answer any technological questions that you might have, so please don't hesitate if you're not sure about something. You're welcome to send myself or my colleague Siwan an email to ask. And we'll also make sure that you have access to the suitable software, i.e. the ones that we make most use of, Kahoot, Menti, and Padlet. You may also have noticed this afternoon that we've added you to a team on Microsoft Teams, just as an additional central area for us to store the additional resources that you'll require throughout the project. So just in case you can't find them in your emails, you should be able to find them in that Microsoft team. If you can't find that team, please let us know and we'll endeavour to make sure that you can find it before the project starts. General notes for the teacher then. The first one, obviously, you don't have to complete everything in order to benefit from the sessions. The level of commitment is up to you. Obviously, there is an element of what you put in, you'll get out to the sessions, but if you'd like to just dip your toe in the pool, as it were, to begin with, and just attend the first session to see what it's all about, you're welcome to do so and then decide to engage further with the additional resources. Then make use of document tasks in a way that works for you. We'll be providing plenty of resources for you to make use of, but obviously it's up to you which ones to make use of. You can use them all if you like, but you don't have to, obviously. The third point there, ensure the availability of smart devices. So as I mentioned, we do like a Kahoot quiz amongst other things at e-sgol. So it would be beneficial if you're able to provide smart devices. It doesn't have to be one-to-one, whatever is available to your classroom, that would be perfectly fine. And again, just to remind you that safeguarding obviously is your responsibility as a teacher and a school. So if you do wish to take part in any interactive areas of learning throughout the project, for example, if you'd like to send us a video through Padlet for the next session, just make sure that those learners taking part have the necessary permissions to do so in order to be able to appear in these national sessions. And this is where I hand over to Sean. Felly, diolch yn fawr iawn, Sean.
Lovely, diolch Hugh. Good afternoon to everyone this evening. It is very sunny here in Barry in South Wales, so I'm going to just try and do this as quickly as possible in order to make sure that everybody does enjoy the sunshine before it disappears on us once again. So I'm going to go over very quickly just the 4 sessions individually. As I go through it, if you could think of any question you'd like to ask, pop it in the chat. I'll try and answer as I go along, but I'll probably pick up some of the things I've missed at the end as well. So the first session that we'll be doing will be entitled What is the Senedd? And the learning objectives will be understanding what the Senedd does and how it affects the lives of young people. So we'll try to make it very centric towards young people and the target audience that we're looking to teach over this period as well. So the main task will be to use the resources provided to describe what the Senedd looks like and explain the sustainability features of the building. We are very aware that some of the pupils have never been to the Senedd and don't have any sort of concept of the building even, so we want to try to introduce them to that first of all. We also explain what new law they would introduce in Wales and explain why Wales needs this new law, so an interactive session with the pupils, encouraging them to think of how they would improve the lives of those around you and in Wales as well. They will also research who the members of the Senedd are, and we will finish that session with a nice game of Kahoot there. So for the teacher, in order to prepare for the session, what you need to do is to broadcast the session itself. This will be sent to you via a link, as Hugh stated earlier in the previous slide. You'll provide the learner with a downloadable worksheet. Obviously, as Hugh has mentioned already, you can dip your toe into this. You can use as much of the resources as you'd like. Pick and choose what you think is most appropriate for your classroom. Don't feel obliged to use all of them, but we have provided enough resources for all abilities in the classroom as well. Provide access to the Senedd website so the learners can research. The Senedd website can be a bit clunky at times, but it is relatively user-friendly. But do give us a shout if you're having difficulties with it, and we'll try and help you and support you as best we can. And also provide access to learners to play a game of Kahoot. And as you said, it doesn't have to be a one-to-one basis. You know, as whatever resources you have available, you can use what's available to you. Diolch. Slide nesaf, please, Ian. Thank you. So this is an outline of the folder that will be sent to you for the first session. It will just be a very simple SharePoint with a folder and all the resources available to you. And these are the example of the tasks. We try to make things as colourful and as appealing as it can to the young people, but also not to overload them as well, because the content can be dry to start off with, of course, but it can be a bit intimidating to learn new things as well. So we try to keep things as fresh and as young for the audience as possible. Slide this up, please. Diolch. So session 2 on the second week will be on how to choose a member of the Senedd. So this is probably the session with the largest preparation sort of work from the teacher. The learning objective will be for the learners to learn how elections work and how to set up an election in the school. So we will be teaching learners in the broadcast lesson on how elections work, what they are and how they operate, and the mechanics of it, as well as the outcomes, etc., etc. We will also guide pupils on how understanding what makes a good representative. So what makes a good politician, what makes a good representative in your school. So that could be for your school, which will be the case for you, or at even national, at the Senedd level as well, because the principles will remain the same, funnily enough. But this was also an opportunity for pupils, when they learn about these things, to start thinking of whether they would like to start a campaign and become an elected member for themselves. And this is also an opportunity for the school to hold an election, to elect a member to go forward to the primary plenary, it's difficult to say, that we'll be holding on the 4th session. Now, with the election, it's completely up to you how you'd like to do it. We've provided adequate resources that you can use if you'd like. If you don't feel that that's appropriate for your school and you'd like a bit more flexibility, you're more than welcome to do it as and when. This is a very relaxed sort of nature. Do what suits in your schools and your environment. But with this and the preparation, as I mentioned previously, what the teacher would have to do is to broadcast the session, where we will outline and teach pupils about how elections work and what makes a good representative. But also the resources here do back up the tasks that we will be doing throughout the session as well. So use the election resources and good representative resources, because that has good outlined tasks there for the young people, as I just said. To assist the candidates with their campaign and encourage group work as well. This task in this session works best if you possibly get 2 or 3 candidates from your class group, and then another 2 or 3 candidates, or 2 or 3 young people, support them in their campaign. So you'd have sort of a media campaign person. You would also have someone that will go around and leafleting for them to try and help and support them. As group work, this is really effective. Now, it's also up to you on the scale of how you'd like to do this. If you want to do this in the classroom with just 30 pupils, that's absolutely fine. If you have the time and the space and the capacity, and you'd like to do this as a whole school exercise, you're more than welcome to do that as well. But just, if anything you need in terms of doing that, give us a contact us, and we will try and support you through that as well. So you will also end up with the agenda of holding an election ready for the first primary session. And going on to session 3, it will be a Q&A session with members of the Senedd. And we do have a good cross-party selection of MPs, and I will discuss that a bit more. But on the bottom there, it does say send questions on a Padlet for members of Parliament by 5 p.m. on Tuesday the 13th of May. This is just so we can receive the video, and then we can prepare that in our slides and prepare that for the session as well. And then also then we can semi-prepare our chair for the day on the hosting and the flow of the event. It would be better to receive that via video, but also you can type a written question in as well, and our chair can ask that out on the session if need be. Diolch. Slide nesaf, please. So as mentioned, on session 3, it'll be a Q&A session with members of the Senedd. So learners to ask members of the Senedd on topics that matter to them. So the learners will learn about the issues that are important to them by listening to the answers of members of the Senedd. And with this, they can ask them any question that they'd like as well, be that any local question that's important to them, or they can ask anything regarding the members on how to be a good representative. Whatever they find most interesting, they can ask that to us or record it and send it forward to us. So following the Q&A, the elected members of the school will organise a solution to the theme. And the 4 themes that we would like the elected member to go and discuss would be the environment, life at school, health and well-being, education, an item that e-sgol can support. And with that, we've kept all 4 themes quite broad there in order to give you a bit of leeway and in order for pupils to be quite creative with their solutions. If they have something that's very local to them, then they think, okay, this is what's going to work. Fantastic. They can bring that up and they can use that as their solution then for the primary plenary later on. For the teacher, in this session, what they would be required to do is to broadcast the session in order to show the questions being asked and answered for the pupils. And also following the session, we will ask to submit a recording of ideas and solution from primary Senedd members via Padlet by 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 21st of May. So with the elected candidate that has won the election, they will then go ahead and submit an idea and a solution to the primary Senedd on the environment or life at school. So for example, the pupil will go, I think to improve the environment, we should have more electric charging points at schools or something similar to that. And it would be no more than 1 minute, this video. It's just a quick introduction of themselves, a quick overview of the theme that they've chosen, and then very, very simply, they will go, a solution that we have for this is X, Y, and Z. Okay, and then the final session 4, please. And then for session 4, this is our primary plenary session. Right? Now, this word plenary, it is the word that we use for the session that's held in the Senedd on Tuesday, and we've chosen that on purpose in order to try and give it that gravitas of the importance of the session. Now, we have over 100 schools, I believe, have signed up to this to the session now. So if we had 100 different ideas from across Wales, I think that would be a fantastic showpiece event to give to the politicians at the end. That'd be fantastic. So the learning objectives here are the learners from across Wales to share ideas of their solution on the issues that matter most to them. Now, this will be a mixture of live and interactive session, but also there's a lot of pre-record as well. So the interactive session here for the learner activities, you have the primary plenary where young people across Wales share their ideas and solutions. So this will be chaired, I think, by a member from e-sgol. They will be chairing that session, and then they will be showing all the solutions and all the recordings that have come in this session. There will also be live opinion polls over menti.com on the views of young people. If you haven't used Menti before, it's fantastic. It's a great teaching tool, but it also gives that sort of live feel to the session as well, in order to get a litmus test of how young people across Wales feel about the solutions being proposed on the day. And the primary MPs will to vote for or against a political solution. So at the end of it, there will be a vote, and all the elected MPs from across Wales, the primary MPs from across Wales, will have an opportunity to vote in that session at the end there then as well. So for this, the teacher activities, it would be to broadcast the session, and the second one, this is probably the most important here, is to make sure that there's one device for the class to participate in opinion polls. So if that is an iPad or a computer, whatever that you have available to you, and then one device for the primary member of the Senedd to cast official votes as well. So the representative can take the opinions of the class live and then vote on their behalf there then in the primary plenary session. Slide that's got from that. Lovely. So that's it in terms of the sessions and how the details and how all that will look. The key contacts for you here, so send all your e-sgol content to either Hugh, who's on the chat here, at hugh.davis@e-sgol.cymru, and then Siwan Richards is siwan.richards@e-sgol.cymru. So all your videos and your content and things like that that'll be created for the next session. if you could send them to the e-sgol accounts, that'd be fantastic. If you do happen to send it to the Senedd accounts, don't worry, we will send them forward to the e-sgol team. That's not a problem at all. But if you have any questions about the content or about what we're going to teach or the delivery of how we're going to teach it, we have myself, Sean Deisio Evans, at senedd.cymru. You can contact me there, or my colleague Anne, who will be doing the sessions in Welsh, anne.owen.williams@senedd.wales. I'll be more than happy to help you facilitate anything that we can there.